Hey everybody, welcome to the Meddling Kids Podcast, a review of all things Scooby-Doo. I'm pretty sure I'm a worse villain than the guy in this episode. I'm Stephen Pappas.
And I'm Julie Kin. And I'm here to ask all of you, what the heck's going on? That is the name of the episode we are going to review. And it was just set to be a cheesy podcast title as well. This is episode 6 of season 1 of... I almost said, Where Are You, Scooby-Doo? That's not the name of this.
It's the same.
Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Works.
Yeah, not that bad. Okay, what the heck's going on? And hex is spelled H-E-X.
Ooh. God, they're such crafty wordsmiths.
I know. So when we heard that this was the episode, my first thought last time I mentioned was, oh no, this episode is going to be all about making fun of witchcraft and, modern witches and all that kind of thing and earth-based religions. They did not make fun of earth-based religions at all.
No, not at all. Even though at one point I do remember thinking, isn't this just the plot from Hocus Pocus?
Right.
At the beginning, I was just like, this seems very... It's like Hocus Pocus and Field of Dreams had a baby and Scooby-Doo ripped it off.
Oh, that's exactly right. Except for a few little bits of delays in here due to other random weird things. And although they didn't make fun of earth-based religions, they did totally get Hinduism wrong.
Right. Yeah, I did notice that.
I
studied Hinduism in college. So
Yeah, that was pretty offensive, I thought. But other than that, let's just say this episode was way less offensive than others. But I'm still hoping someday soon we get a Scooby-Doo episode that isn't offensive at all, that doesn't make fun of people who are different colors, different ethnicities, or different religions.
It was 1969, though, so
Okay.
I'm not defending it.
Fair
at
enough.
All
right. Yeah, we should expect that it's not going to... we're looking at it from the lens of 2017. Sorry for dating our podcast there, but still, it was objectionable, but we'll get into it. It wasn't quite as horrifying as last time, but it was horrifying and creepy because it starts with an old spooky house. I know you're all shocked, and it's dusk. And Stephen, are you still there?
I am still here.
Okay.
Sorry, I was looking at my notes and everything I've written for the first 5 minutes is just this is everything from the opening credits. Literally every image we are seeing is the open. They took the entire opening credits from this episode.
Yeah, no, much of this episode is right in there. You got the roller skates, you got the shower, all that stuff. Okay, it's spooky house. Guess what the weather's like?
It's dark and gloomy.
Yes. And then we see the camera panning next to a graveyard. And then we see a sequence that I would like to return to at the end of the episode so that we can understand it better. But we hear a man's voice chanting, "Come, come." And it's not erotic. It's more menacing.
I wasn't going to take it there. But...
Oh, yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no.
Who would? That's weird.
Well, everyone listening would probably expect me to be the one to... Julie.
No, I'm the good one. Anyway, from the graveyard, we see a bat. And bats are always spooky in this show, and I really like bats a lot. They eat mosquitoes. They're awesome. They're mice with wings, but cuter, and they eat fruit and stuff. Anyway... Okay,
I don't know how I feel about bats.
Fan of bats.
They're like furry birds. I don't like them.
Okay, fair enough. I guess I can see why you're not a big fan of them. Okay, so we see this guy walking through the graveyard, and oh gosh, he has his hands in front of him, walking like a zombie, and his eyes are open, and he is a hipster. He's wearing Warby Parker glasses, a brown suit, and he has a manicured Van Dyke beard. I had to look up what that is. Do you know what that is?
I do know what that is because I'm a comic book nerd, and that's what Green Arrow and Robin Hood had. So
oh, yeah! So how would you describe that to our listeners?
All those portraits of William Shakespeare you see,
Uh-huh.
Like, it's kind of like that. He's got the, like, it's the beard with the mustache that, like, comes out and, like, up a little bit. And it's, like, really, really well done. And you can see it at any coffee shop in downtown Charlotte.
Yeah. But there's, like, not really a mustache, right? It's like it makes your head look like a circle of hair.
Wait,
no?
maybe I'm messing up. Maybe I've been thinking this entire time that a Van Dyke beard is something very different.
Well, my brief Google search indicates, because I searched, what do you call a beard with no mustache? And
I'm Googling right now.
Okay, we
I'm
need
Googling
to know,
a Van Dyke.
Stephen.
This is important.
We
You
got to
keep
do our
going,
research.
but I'm gonna
Okay,
break
I'll keep
in.
going. Don't worry, guys. He'll get back to us. And it's really nicely manicured. Okay, so hipster dude is walking in a trance, basically. Eyes open through a graveyard. All right, that's not illegal. You can do that. Meanwhile, the mystery machine is driving through a really spooky road with, like, trees that look all gnarled and horrifying. And Fred announces we're almost to the Weatherby Estate. So, we're going to the Weatherby Estate. That has been established. They're there to see their friend Sharon. And I would just like to say, I hope we see more of Sharon in this series because she's pretty awesome. We'll get to that later. Did you find out yet about the beard?
I did. Yes, I just pulled it up. A Van Dyke, also, it doesn't matter how it's also spelled, is a style of facial hair named after the 17th century Flemish painter Anthony Van Dyck. This doesn't matter.
Duh. Everyone knew that.
Any growth of both a mustache and a goatee with all the hair on your cheeks shaven. So, yeah, he doesn't have a Van Dyke.
No,
it was
I
what I was
wrong.
thinking of, like this very, like, Robin Hood mustache that kind of twists up at the ends with a goatee.
Right.
Like,
I
that's
was
a Van
so
Dyke.
wrong. Listeners, I beg your pardon, but don't
I have
worry.
a lot of
took
hipster friends.
I live in Olympia, Washington, so there's quite a variety of beards out here too. I did take some screenshots of screen captures. I don't know if it's legal for me to put those on Facebook, but I'm gonna do it until I get a cease and desist. So, yay! That's on advice of a lawyer I know. Thanks, Olaf. Okay. Meanwhile, so Mystery Machine, they're going to go see their friend Sharon. They're going to spend the weekend with her on the Weatherby Estate, which sounds super fantastic the way they're talking it up. They're going to have tennis and lots of food. And I'm picturing, like, a pretty nice place, right?
Oh, yeah. And well, what they're describing is essentially that Shaggy's like, we're going to tennis, eating, swimming, eating, dancing, eating. And I'm just sitting there like, this sounds like a Pappas family gathering.
Aww.
Like, that's all we do.
Aww, Greek families. Can I make assumptions?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely Greek, and that's definitely what we do. So, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Even though we're in the South, so we don't eat Greek food. We eat, like, mac and cheese, but whatever.
Yum. Okay, question for you. So,
Yes.
Do you think there's more than one mystery van, that they might have, like, a van pool or, like, I don't know what you call it when you've got, like, a garage with, like, multiple vehicles? Because this mystery machine did not have any high-tech equipment in it.
I like to imagine that it's just one van and there's some sort of either switch that they hit that brings out all the panels like Super Batman style, or they just have to lug the equipment in and out every single time, whether they think they're going to need it or not. And I tend to like that theory better because it means that Fred's having to do so much work.
Okay, fair. All right, let's go with that. There's just one mystery machine. This is the empty version. In fact, Shag and Scoob are in the back with no seatbelts. Anyway.
Dangerous.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. The mom and me was like, oh, boys. Scooby steals and eats Shaggy's gigantic sandwich. So as they're driving past the weird rundown mansion that we saw at the very beginning, have no fear, kids, that is not the Weatherby Estate. This, let me just tell you right now, is the Kingston Mansion, okay? So Kingston Mansion, think weird, creepy place. Weatherby Estate, we'll get back to. As they're walking past, they see our hipster walking in a trance towards the mansion. Okay, now, most people on the way to see their friend for a weekend wouldn't really have, I mean, maybe they would be like, ooh, look at that cool, creepy mansion. They are kind of freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, what's he doing? Is he going to go into that creepy old mansion? Why would anybody ever go into a kooky place like that? Or why would anyone do a kooky thing?
Just a man walking.
And
like,
look who's talking.
Yeah, exactly. How many times have they gone into a creepy mansion? Like, come on now. Maybe he's an amateur sleuth.
And he's a grown-up. Maybe he has at least he's probably not breaking and entering.
Maybe he owns it.
Maybe he owns it. A voice was telling him to come in. I mean, I don't think they heard the voice. But they are disturbed by this, and they remember it. They are like, but remember, we saw a grown-up man walk into a house. Okay, put a bookmark on that. All right, so they see Sharon at the Weatherby Estate. Now, based on the fact that the Weatherbys are supposed to be a rich family, one would imagine the Weatherby Estate to be, I don't know, something with like white columns out front and like looking real nice, right?
Right. No, it's not that.
No. How would you describe it?
Just house. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. House. Yeah. That's good. And there's definitely parts of it where like, I think they were supposed to be drawing it like richly. Like they stood in front of a mantle and Sharon's dad is wearing a smoking jacket and a cravat, I don't know, like a big fluffy tie tied around. Sorry, bumped the mic.
Very Hugh Hefner.
Very Hugh Hefner. Yes, he was actually kind of hot. And
okay.
Not Hugh Hefner, the dad.
Either way, disturbing.
Yeah, he has an unlit pipe that he carries in every scene. But they're standing in front of a mantle with like lots of knickknacks and stuff, but without any explanation, as they're inside the house walking around in the rest of the scenes, the walls have cobwebs and all the lamps have cracks in it and the windows are all cracked. I mean, and it looks like a haunted house on the inside.
Maybe the cleaning service just hasn't been by in a while.
Oh, that could be. I was figuring either they were just using like the same backgrounds that they use for every scene in the entire series and they just wanted to save money and they were like, dumb kids won't notice. Or like in this area where they live, it's like infested with hauntings and things like that. And it's just, every house automatically grows extra cobwebs or something.
I do have a theory now on where this mystery location that they live in is. And I will explain it a little later, but there were some things in this episode that made it clear to me that they are in Georgia.
What? Really? What?
The state, not the country. Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, okay. So is Georgia known for lots and lots of cobwebs?
I mean, depends on who you talk to.
All right, fair.
Also, any listeners in Georgia, please don't come at me. That was just a joke. We have cobwebs here. There's cobwebs in my house. I never sweep. Please love me.
Just not as many as are in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I was about to make some cracks on the Georgia peach and how it looks like a butt, but I won't.
That's not in Georgia, actually.
What do you mean?
That's in Gaffney, South Carolina.
Oh, sorry, South Carolina.
Well, being from North Carolina, I rag on South Carolina all the time, and they do the same to us. So, yeah, it does look like a butt.
Fair. It really does. Okay. So Sharon is super adorable and she seems like a really nice, intelligent girl. And we hopefully will see her again after this episode. I can't remember her though. Anyway, her dad explains that it might not be the best weekend for them to stay because the last few days they've been hearing really weird noises at night and Uncle Stuart has disappeared.
Oh no, I bet it's that guy.
Now, how did you know that?
Because
that was
it's the
amazing.
only other character we've seen, and he was walking in a very I'm about to disappear manner.
Yeah, Stephen, you are absolutely correct. That hipster dude is Uncle Stuart. But you are not the only smart one around here because the Scooby Gang immediately was like, oh, wait, your uncle, he's a dude, right? Because we just saw a dude and they're both dudes and we saw him walking toward a house. Could that be your uncle? Because, they're both dudes and your guy's missing and that guy's there. And so they decide to all go check it out because logic. So, yeah, They it's now nighttime, by the way, so they go investigate the spooky Kingston mansion at night, and they see a weird dude in the shadows. Dun dun dun. Who is it?
It's Uncle Stewart.
It's Uncle Stewart, but he's become an old man.
Which at this point I legitimately wrote down like, okay, well, they've given it away. It's clearly Uncle Stewart because he's become an old man. I mean, come on. Like, there's access to makeup. Like, it's got to be makeup.
No, magic, dude. Magic exists. Magic is real.
I'm so cynical in this Scooby universe. I'm just like, nope, it's got to be makeup. Speaking of bad makeup, so they see he's become an old man, and then all of a sudden, who else do they see?
They see a guy who has severe jaundice. His skin is tinged blue and his eyes are yellow. And for anyone who has had jaundice, or, a lot of times premature babies have jaundice, you need heat lamps and lights and vitamin D. And this dude ain't got it. It is the ghost of Elias Kingston. And this ghost looks super bored. Like, he is so over it. I will share a screenshot of that. So before we see jaundice dude, hipster Uncle Stewart explains that he was drawn by mysterious voice and through a trance into the mansion, and then he got changed into old. Oh wait, maybe we hear that later. I don't know. When did we get all that exposition about how he magically got changed old?
I think it was right before we see Elias Kingston, and I may have skipped ahead because I was so excited to talk about this blue boy, because when I saw him, I was just like, okay, and then he opened his mouth, and I don't know what he said because I was laughing and writing furiously because he's the least intimidating voice I have ever heard in my life for a villain. He's just like, hey, like, yeah, you should get out of here.
The Weatherby fortune belongs to me. And, like, seriously, throughout this entire episode, the ghost is, like, so bored. And he looks like he was a hefty guy when he was alive and before the jaundice killed him. And so he's like, guess I gotta chase you. Okay, hold on. Let me just get up out of this chair.
When it came to like villain character development, the writers really they wrote it in on this one. They were just like, well, we're gonna do this 50%. We put in the full 50% effort.
Yeah, I was creeped out when they saw old Uncle Stewart because that magic is some crazy magic. But yeah, Elias Kingston's ghost. Meh. What did you call him? Blue boy?
Yeah, he was just a beautiful blue boy.
Beautiful blue boy.
He looked like Blue Man Group with hair. Like, I wasn't, like, real fond of it.
Yeah, I was going to call him Jaundice Dude, but I like Blue Boy better. Let's call him Blue Boy and Uncle Stewart as Hipster Dude, okay?
Gotcha.
Because we want to keep all these characters straight.
Yes.
All right. So the dad at this point, they go back to the fabulous Weatherby Estates, and in there they talk to Hipster Dude, and he explains his story of how he got turned old. And the dad says, I'm gonna call the sheriff, but oh no, the phone lines aren't working. So so he gets in his car to go to the sheriff in person. Now, these county police are Georgia. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what county it is in Georgia, but these police are not that great because for the rest of the episode, we are still waiting for like the police to show up. And I think this episode even goes overnight and through the next morning, maybe. But
I think so.
Yeah. So, let's see. Scooby is a watchdog. They're like, well, you go get the sheriff. We'll stay here. We'll keep an eye on Uncle Stewart. We'll keep an eye on Sharon because the ghost had pretty much threatened them that he wants the Weatherby fortune. And if he doesn't get it, he's going to oldify all the rest of the Weatherbys. Now, I don't know what fortune he's talking about because if they've got cash, they are not spending it on their house. But maybe they're like the guy in, not Serial, but in the other
S-Town?
S-Town, yeah. Like they've got hidden gold or something.
Spoilers.
Spoil. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Well, I think that's established in like episode 2 of S Town. Yeah, you all have had long enough to see S to
Yeah,
read.
that's fair.
Listen to S Town. Okay, Scooby does a frankly terrible job as a watchdog, and we hear the voice shouting, "Come, come!" And Uncle Stuart walks out in a trance. And let's get back to this later because this is all established to like trick a dog. I mean, does Uncle Stuart and Jaundice Boy know that like this dog can speak English? Anyway, Uncle Stuart leaves and Scooby wakes up as Uncle Stuart is out the door. He doesn't bark to wake up everybody. He grabs a bugle off the wall and plays that. And
he has no lips. He has
yeah.
no lips.
Yeah. Well, no dogs have lips. They're just like all fuzzy wuzzy.
Are they
Don't
really
they have
lips?
lips?
If my dog were to come in here right now,
Yes.
and play a bugle, I'm a millionaire. I'm going on America's Got Talent because I'm like, guess what? Ghost has got talent. And he's gonna just he's gonna blow that horn. I'm gonna call him Little Boy Blue, just like I'm calling our ghost that.
Okay, of all the things Scooby can do, like that's the trait that you would market. Because I think the speaking English is pretty amazing, but even more amazing is when he translates for other dogs. Hey, come here, Scout. Do you have lips? Yeah, Scout would be able to hold a bugle like in his snout, but he wouldn't be able to actually play. Yeah, in his teeth. No, my dog is not going to make me a millionaire.
No, yeah. Ghost is well, I don't know. He's coming in here with a bugle. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
No, he dropped it. Never mind. Continue. Sorry.
Bad dog. No, just kidding, Ghost. You're a good doggy. Okay.
No, he's not.
Make your daddy a millionaire. Go on. You can do it. Okay. Shaggy is on roller skates. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I skipped way ahead. So okay. When I tell people about this podcast, they always say, oh, so you're going to like play in clips and speak over it like on MST3K? And I'm like, no, we just kind of talk about it and try to explain it. And then my friends just kind of stare blankly at me. And it's probably because of moments like this where they're like, how can anyone follow you in your retelling of this? Because of my amazing notes. Okay. They figure that Sharon is probably and Uncle Stu are at the Kingston place. So they go back to the Kingston Manor and they break in. Like you do.
I wrote down B&E so many times in my notes because I'm like, and we're breaking into here, and we're breaking into here, and we're breaking into here. Cool. Well done.
Yeah. I guess if they were police, they would probably have plausible cause because the other dude had said, hey, I was abducted by a strange voice and oldified, but I don't know. It's still sketchy. I get that your friend Sharon is missing. That's bad. Maybe I would break in too. All right. Anyway, later while Sharon's still missing, they're all having a jolly time in the mystery machine, by the way. But okay, sorry. Moving ahead too fast. I'm too caffeinated. Shaggy's on roller skates for some reason in the Kingston mansion. I'm not sure that that's ever explained. If there's a ghost there, he wants to be able to get out quickly. I'm sure those roller skates won't lead to any debacles.
Nope. And by the way, during this, they're animating everyone's walk way more pronounced to show that he's not walking.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so Velma is just like strutting very aggressively.
Like
and
models.
Fred is like bouncing on the balls of his feet. And I was just like, my God. They all look like just the most ragtag group of just like, I don't know.
Models. But
maybe,
like bad ones.
But like the worst strut ever. Like I don't want to see their pretty turn on the catwalk. Like, no.
Okay, they sneak past a bookcase, and after they pass it, it slides open to reveal Blue Boy and Sharon tied to a chair and gagged too, which was like a bit overkill. I don't know how she's ever gonna get out of that trap. The ghost follows them all from behind. He uses one of those fireplace vent fan things. I don't know what it's called, but like you squeeze it and it pumps air out to increase.
Yeah, the puffer.
Yeah.
It's not called a puffer.
No, that's the word.
The stoker?
No, that's
No.
like a metal pokey thing.
Well, I'm thinking of poker. I don't know.
It's a puffer.
It doesn't matter. Continue.
Y'all know. Yeah.
I'm Wayne Pacelli,
and,
president of the Humane Society of the
Blue
United
Boy
States.
uses it
As
to
the nation's
blow
largest
so
and
much
most
air on
effective
Shaggy
animal protection
that
organization,
he's propelled
HSUS is
forward
there
on
for
his roller
animals when
skates.
hurricanes
Because, like I
or
said,
other
this
natural
ghost is
disasters
not going to
strike.
be running after anyone.
We're there
Blue Boy
raiding puppy mills,
needs to just
dog fighting
sit
ranges,
down
or
and
stopping
he looks like
whale
he's ready for
and
some
baby
steak
seal
and
hunts.
potatoes, basically. And
We're there
he looks
providing sanctuary
bloated.
to horses
Maybe
and
that's one
exotic
of the
animals.
things that happens after you die from
We're there in the
jaundice.
halls of Congress and state capitals.
So
Got real
fighting
dark.
for legislation
sorry,
to
everybody.
ban all forms of
Trigger
cruelty.
warnings, jaundice stuff.
We're there all
okay,
across
so
America
he
and around the world,
rolls
where other
so
organizations
fast from this
won't
puff
be,
of air that he rolls
can't be.
into a bathtub.
We urge you to
and
support
water
our work so
sprays
you
him.
too can be
and while
there
he's in
in
there,
spirit
we see
and in
tattered
celebration of
towels
the
still
joys
on the
of the
rack.
human-animal
Will
bond.
Shaggy dry off
Visit
with
our
those
website
tattered
at
towels?
humanesociety.org
Will he take
to
this
join
chance to
us in our
shave
effort
his
to help all
scraggly beard?
animals.
We get to find out after the commercial break. Did you like that transition?
I did. I loved it. It was beautiful.
Okay. And we're back.
Oh, I'm leaving that in too. So now it just sounds like
Perfect.
so now we've come back twice.
Oh, awesome. Yay! Okay, to answer some of your questions, yes, Shaggy did dry off. We have no idea how. And B, no, he did not shave. In fact, his beard looks fuller than ever. And I took a little screen cap I'll put on Facebook for you all. It's kind of like especially big. Okay. Scooby checks out the kitchen when we're back from commercial, and he finds a dusty old bone because whoever lived here before used to keep an empty bone on a plate in the refrigerator.
I know I do.
Oh, do you? For like soup and stocks and things, or just in case a giant Great Dane comes in after your
Just
death?
in case I want something to gnaw on while I'm watching Game of Thrones. Just like ngang, 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 ngang.
I kind of like that. So he cleans off the bone, and as he's about to eat it, a giant bull. Well, it's not giant. A fierce bulldog comes in, and this bulldog's head is like the size of the rest of his body, and he is like seriously fierce.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is where my theory comes in, that this is all taking place in Athens, Georgia.
Oh, Athens. Okay.
Because that is
Hipsters.
clearly the mascot of the University of Georgia.
Yes, you're right.
Straight up,
The big head.
gray bulldog, huge head, red collar. Like, that is Uga, which, yes,
Aw.
his name is Uga, which stands for UGA, University of Georgia.
Yeah.
That is clearly Uga. I mean, it's probably like Uga 7, because I think they're on like Uga 7 now, because Uga keeps dying. But that's as it goes with dogs.
Okay, fair.
But this fully convinced me all of a sudden of just like, oh, they're in
Athens.
Georgia.
I could see this because Athens also has hipsters, and you know, there's some buildings and things there, and there's buildings in this episode. Now, are you saying that the entire series might take place in Athens, or just they're on a day trip to Athens?
I have no clue. They do seem to be on like vacation, so maybe it is a day
Right.
trip.
Okay, but yeah, in the Athens general area, I can see that. I like Athens.
It's beautiful.
I saw the B-52s and the the Go-Go's in Georgia, and we stayed in Athens, and it was the best ever. And I'm really old. Okay, so I'll send you some MP3s later so you can learn about these historical music groups that I'm talking about.
I know who these people are.
I'm just joking. Okay. So Scooby at this point could have used dog language to communicate with this bulldog and like try to get some clues, but instead this bulldog is like, no, I ain't interested in playing. I want to bite you. And so Scooby uses the bone to like hold open his jaws, which is pretty clever. But then they have like a doggy chase scene, and the bad dog, I guess you should call him. I mean, there's really no such thing as a bad dog. There's just dogs who have bad humans, right? Okay, Ugga. We'll call him Ugga.
Ugga, there you go.
Ugga is searching for Scooby, and we see from behind a curtain Blue Boy's hand kind of pointing to where Scooby is, because again, Blue Boy ain't gonna be running around on his own.
No.
So Ugga finds Scooby sneaking around with his head under a bucket to hide him, even though you can see his tushy. It's really cute. And Scooby tosses the bucket onto Ugga, who then runs into Shaggy, who's just coming out of the tub, and they both splash back into the tub.
Shaggy then delivers, by the way, the worst joke I have ever heard, and like the laugh track loved it. Like his line is just like, there's nothing I hate more than taking a shower in a haunted house. I'm like, that's not even a joke. That's not. That is in no way comedy. But the laugh track was really enjoying that one.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that they always like go through. They're like, what is something here that our testers didn't find funny? Let's boost up the laugh track just to make sure the audience knows this is hilarious, kids. So Fred congratulates Scooby in a very nice way, by the way. Fred is very kind to Scooby again. He says, good job, Scooby. You found a clue because a ghost wouldn't need a real live watchdog. Now we can establish there's probably nothing mystical going on here. So I'm glad that the gang finally understands that. Until they see something horrifying. They find dead Uncle Stuart.
And they're like, they're talking about Uncle Stuart, and they're like, hey, you remember Uncle Stuart? Yeah. Was he wearing a blue jacket? Yeah. With a red tie? Yeah. And a something? Yeah.
And sneakers.
And then they point, and it's like that, and then they show the like skeleton man of Uncle Stuart, and he is not wearing that. He's wearing like a red suit with like a blue tie. It's the opposite of what they've said.
Yeah, no,
and
yeah.
I was just like, no, you know who was wearing that outfit? Daddy McWeathermoney, whatever his name was, at the beginning, the one that you liked so much that you were
Hot Daddy McWeathermoney.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, let's not call him that. I don't.
Daddy
no
McWeathermoney.
One needs to be called Hot Daddy anything.
Okay, can I? Fair. I am going to call him Daddy McWeathermoney from now on, though, because I like that. So Daddy McWeathermoney is theoretically still getting the police and sheriff. He doesn't even know that his daughter is missing yet. The ghost warns them all again, like, hey, can you all leave? Because otherwise I'm going to oldify you all. And I mean it for real. And I need all that money. So go out, bring me the fortune, or else you're all dead. Super lazy.
God, he's really phoning it in, too.
Totally.
He's just, yeah.
Okay, the gang leaves the house, but they're still spying to see what happens next. And then we see Blue Boy walk into the mausoleum, but he's also walking with his arms outstretched like a zombie.
But there's nothing in the continuity of this episode that would suggest he would do that.
Right. No, nothing. I mean, unless there's like even other more superior ghosty kind of dude. And like if he's doing that to trick the kids, because spoiler, he's not really a ghost. Sorry, everybody. Then and there's a dog huffing behind me. Hello. Thank you, Ladybird.
huffing feet like paint?
No, like you know how those big
cool,
bugle-playing dog lips sometimes get stuck, like, in your snout mouth? And so you got to get them all out nice and fluffy, and you just go...
Yes, I understand. I was just concerned. I was like, you need to get on that. Stop recording. We will deal with this later. You need to make sure that your dog is not abusing any sort of...
Scooby snacks?
Any sort of drugs or highs or anything, yeah.
Yeah. So in this episode, Scooby does eat Scooby snacks, I believe. Which,
Yeah, he does.
you know, but he doesn't
So does
have them.
Shaggy.
He chomps them. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so he's a zombie too, potentially. So the kids are like, ooh, that guy who just warned us he's going to kill us is in the mausoleum. Let's go in there and check it out. Now, have you ever had a fingerprint kit?
I have not, no, because I had a life. No.
I have a fingerprint kit.
I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
Or am I? No. I mean, I had a rock polisher as a kid, so I can't say
okay.
anything.
Well, my fingerprint kit was a gift the Tooth Fairy left for my 6-year-old. She's really into science and stuff, and so we dust for fingerprints once in a while.
That's cool.
Let me just explain for the audience. When you dust for fingerprints, you dust because you want to look at the fingerprints and compare them to printed fingerprints. Fred, completely clueless here. He does not get it. So they want to sneak up and dust for fingerprints. They have, thank you, Ladybird. Velma has a fingerprint kit on her, which Fred commands Shaggy. Again, Fred's back to bossing around the others again. He's doing it more kindly, though. I think he must have had an awakening at some point. He commands Shaggy use Velma's fingerprint kit to dust for fingerprints. So Shaggy's clueless too. First he just dusts Velma's hands, and they're like, "Oh, ha 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 ha! That's not how you do it, Shaggy." And even Scooby laughs at him in kind of a mocking, not very nice way. I didn't really love that. And I especially didn't love it when clearly Fred doesn't know what he's doing either. Because after they dust the doorknob, he looks at it and says, "Just as I thought! There's fingerprints on there." And then he uses his hand to open the door.
No. And the thing is, Daphne's like, so clearly it can't be a ghost. And I got real defensive of that. I was like, you don't know, Daphne. Ghosts could have fingerprints. We don't know. That's a paranormal science that we haven't delved into yet. So don't sit there and claim to be Miss Ghost. You don't know.
The literature is unclear on this point, Daphne. Let me assure you.
Daphne.
The peer-reviewed record. Plus, if a ghost had just vanished through the door, the fingerprints would show the caretaker's fingerprints and other people who had humans, live ones from previous. Anyway, Daphne. Oh, gosh, she's so stuck up sometimes.
I'm starting to understand the Daphne hate that we see even later in the episode, but just throughout the series.
I still want to give her a chance, but this episode, I was like, all right, thanks, Daph. Maybe she's jealous because Sharon is super adorable and frankly not as much of a screw up as Daphne is. And so she's on edge.
I don't know. I think she's jealous because Velma and Fred are having a secret affair and Shaggy is their love child. I've told you this is happening. I have more proof later.
Okay, we'll get to that. Fred opens the door with his bare hands, obscuring all the fingerprint data. And by the way, I am intrigued, Stephen. Okay,
yes.
Bats. Oh, one bat flies out of the door. Fred says, "Scooby, sniff around for a ghost." Scooby does not want to do this because he just saw Blue Boy go in there. And he doesn't want to get ageified and skeletonized. Fred bribes him with 4 Scooby snacks, and Shaggy eats them before... thank you, Ladybird. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to move my dogs? Because I don't know if you're hearing those grunts and sighs.
This is a very dog-centric podcast.
Okay.
I'm not hearing any grunts or sighs.
Oh, okay. Well, one
But
just
I think
happened.
the dogs are welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thanks,
Except
listeners.
for my dog, because he's a jerk.
Okay. My dogs are not jerks. They're just slobbery. Okay. Shaggy eats the snacks instead and goes in to investigate. And he totally breaks the fourth wall and says to us, there's times I'll do anything for a Scooby snack, which is, I don't know if that's him saying, he will pretty much give it all up for drugs if we assume that Scooby snacks are drugs. Or he just is really hungry. He invites the other kids in when he sees there's no apparent danger. But there's a book about using a crystal ball. And this leads them into all sorts of crazy leads. I mean, like you said before, the continuity of this episode is just kind of nutty. Okay,
apparently the science of this, by the way, is called crystallomacy. Crystallomacy? Is that real?
I don't think so. I think it would be crystallology if there was a science of it, because that's what the
I'm on it.
suffix means. Oh, thanks,
Wait.
Steven.
hold on. I think they misspelled it on the show. Crystal gazing. Yep. Also known as crystal seeing, crystallism, crystallomancy, crystallomancy.
They got it right.
Gastromancy or
Whoa.
spheromancy, which, by the way, he makes the worst joke. It's worse than the shower joke when he's like, crystallomancy? Never met her. I do know a crystal, like, Jacob. And I'm just like, ugh.
It's not a girl, Shaggy. Yeah. It's one of those weird things that we're going to completely misunderstand throughout the rest of the episode. They get locked into the place by the ghost, and Fred suggests that they tap on all the walls to find a secret way out, because in Fred's world, every mausoleum probably has a secret passage for, victims and stuff to come in and out. Scooby finds one, and there's like lots of hijinks with a revolving wall, and maybe the kids are just so used to revolving walls and whatnot that they're just assume that any walls that they're locked into will have one, because they are not shocked by this. This is where we get the ethnocentric view of Hinduism and other religions and things like that. Now, let me just put out there, I'm not a big fan of people who do fortune telling and palm reading and things, because I think you can really take advantage of people, especially if you're telling them, oh, you don't need chemo, I'm going to cure you by dousing you with this oil and reading your palm. And, etc. Listen to Ono, Ross, and Carrie for more. So I'm not a big fan of that. But what I'm even a not bigger fan of is them mixing up that kind of stuff with Hinduism, which it's not. There's nothing like that in Hinduism that I'm aware of. So what they do is Fred says, oh, we can learn more about crystal balls at the Swami place I saw. So apparently in Athens, they're like on that main drag, there's Swami place, and it's called Swami's or something like that, and it's got the big palm on the front of it to show you can get your palm read here, that sign for crystal reading,
right?
And inside it just looks like your typical standard set for mystical stuff. It's got like purple curtains and very fancy chairs and astrological signs painted on the lamp. I mean, it's very mystical looking. Nothing Hindu about it, but they keep calling it a Swami who's there. So that wasn't so great. Have you ever had your fortune told or anything like that?
I have not. No, I never really put too much stock in that. No offense to anyone who does. I never really did it. I mean, they did the stupid thing in like middle school where they like read your palm, like kids pretend to read your palm. They're like, you're gonna have 19 babies.
I did that. Yep.
And it was we've all done that. Then they write like pen 15 on your hand and send you off into the school to make fun of you. Was that just me? No? Okay, cool.
15. Oh my gosh, I once made the mistake of teaching my older child the eye cup thing, and like we laughed for like an hour, and then he couldn't go to sleep that night because he kept wanting to tell that joke to everyone. Spell eye cup, fans, and you'll figure it out.
Oh no.
Steven finally gets it.
I get it. I did it.
Pen 15. Okay. So the kids are like super pumped because they escaped from this cavern or mausoleum, and they're like so happy as they're going to Swami's place, even though their friend is presumably also been skeletonized and they don't know where Sharon is.
Right. And they've broken into the Swami's place.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They break into the Swami's place. And like, I get why Daphne's excited that Sharon's gone because competition, but everyone else, come on, Sharon, she's awesome. Okay, they break in. Swami's not there. So, Fred suggests the B&E. Daphne knocks over a ton of stuff in a closet because typical Daphne. And it all falls on Scooby, and including like a hat and some other stuff. A customer walks in, and It's the lady whose dog was taken in the previous episode.
I thought the same thing. They were just like, we don't want to animate another old lady, so it's this lady.
Well, this is my theory that Princess, her dog, the white poodle, never actually got returned to her, and she like ran off with one of the other dogs or something, or I don't know, maybe the Scooby Gang helped rehome her, and so she's trying to like communicate with the ghost of Princess. Is that too dark? Is that darker than Jaundice Dude dying?
Yeah, well, it's dark.
Okay, sorry everyone. No, Princess is just fine
dark.
though. Yeah, Princess is fine. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, it's a dark, dark show. It's all about ghosts and death and stuff.
It is dark, literally and figuratively.
Right. Okay, so this is like another point where the show presumes that when Scooby is all dressed up in the stuff Daphne dropped on him, that Princess's mom, the hoity-toity lady, can't tell the difference between him and a palm reader named Swami.
Sure, that tracks.
Okay. Yeah, because when dogs are enclosed in the show, they look like humans. Let's go with that. And not that she just assumes that men from India look like Great Danes. I think it's that and that she's supposed to be really old and nearsighted.
Right.
Or farsighted. Or whatever one would make her think a dog is a person. Okay. Shaggy provides the voice so that Scooby can pretend to read her fortune. Shaggy is terrible at this, and she gets very offended. I don't remember any of the details.
Well, no, because he gives her false hope.
What
He's
does
just
he
like,
say?
you will meet a man. And she's like, oh. He's like, I see you dancing cheek to cheek. And I'm like,
yeah.
Sweet old lady's going to meet a man. He leans in and he whispers in your ear,
What
you're
does he
standing
say?
on my foot. And I was just like, oh, don't do that. Don't. Come on. And then she gets all peeved and storms out.
Oh, but first she does a cartoon standard. She says, I want my palm red. And so Scooby, grabs red paint and paints her palm red.
Oh, God. I forgot about that. Blah.
Sorry, everybody. Maybe that's the first time that ever happened and it became a cartoon standard after this.
Oh, maybe. It should never have, though.
I know. It's pretty bad. Okay, then, so she leaves, and we hear the tinkling of the door, but we don't actually see her leave. We assume it's her out and that no one else has come in, but we don't know. But then, all of a sudden, we see the table floating, and we see the jaundiced ghost's head in the crystal ball. So Blue Boy, his head is saying, now you shall pay. And then the table chases them at high speeds all around. And it's like a really, really long chase scene. And they trick the table into flying outside, but it comes back in through another door. And let me just say, these special effects are pretty amazing because how can this table be propelled so fast? Plus, with the dude, Blue Boy's head in the crystal ball.
Well, I have a mental image of him actually, like, under the table, squeezing his head through the crystal ball, like, looking through it, and he's just, like, running really fast.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, because there's no feet. So, obviously, this is early drone technology.
Right. I was thinking something with wires, and they were going to explain later. Oh, and these invisible wires propelled the table the whole time. But then how did it get outside and inside? So this is pretty spooky, folks. Scooby gets caught on the table, and then there's a big crash. And they see the underneath of the table. It was all propelled by like a 3/4 of a foot big fan. Powered by two D-sized batteries.
Yep,
I mean,
that would lift a table with a heavy crystal ball on it.
And a Scooby.
Yep. Don't forget him. Yep. That makes sense. It tracks.
Totally tracks. So in this universe, batteries are amazing, and women rejoice all across the land.
If you really think about it, though, batteries are amazing in general.
Tell us.
Like I sound like I've had like a couple Scooby snacks, but. Batteries are they're fascinating. I don't know how they work. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm stupid. I'm just like, but if you really think about it, batteries, fairly amazing technology.
Okay, let's think about it. Yeah, they're these metal canisters with magic juice inside them.
Well, it's electricity. I'm not that dumb.
Well,
but
no, but I mean, they wear out. I mean, isn't it like something liquid in there? No?
It's acid.
Liquid electric magical acid. That sounds like
That's
a good
that's
album
the name of my 90s grunge band. Liquid metal. I already forgot it. Liquid metal, electrified acid. Yeah.
Yeah. I am doing the like hang loose sign here, and
That
headbanging.
is not quite what I think a grunge band would go for. But anyway.
I'm doing the Running Man. Is that right?
Yes,
is
that
okay.
was. I remember in the video for "Smells Like Teen Spirit," everyone was doing the Running Man.
Perfect. Okay. They see suitcases in the corner. Okay, so presumably this ghost is. They now know, oh, well, this ghost is using batteries, so not really a ghost. But there's no one under the table. They think they're probably alone. They see suitcases. And so, of course, they decide to open up these suitcases. And the very first one is a professional makeup kit. And then they see a closed-circuit TV camera. They test the camera and discover that whatever they film with the camera shows up on the crystal ball.
It's all coming together.
It is. It is coming together. Isn't it great that they randomly saw that book and thought, I also noticed a Swami place. Excuse me. I also noticed a Swami place down in downtown Athens. Let's go there. And while they're there, also this table is totally primed to spook them. And that blue boy set up all this. I mean, anyway, yes, quite fortuitous.
Well, it's because he's the worst villain ever.
Yeah.
Literally every note after this until my last like big shocker where I figure out more about my love child theory. Every note between almost a page of notes is just like, oh my God, it's unbearable to watch. Like this guy is the worst. He's clearly not smart. He's scared by his own props. Dear God, why? Like just like over and over. So,
yeah. Yeah, they come up with a plan, and let me just say this is the best plan the kids have ever had because it actually works for like the first time and probably one of the last times ever. But you don't get to hear what the plan is until after the commercial break.
You start.
If someone said to you, Mark, what is the Station Wagon podcast, that show you do with your sister? What would you say?
Our show's all about mindfulness.
That's too vague, specifically.
Yeah,
Outcomes.
okay, so you're always right and I'm always wrong.
Okay, perfect. But more specifically...
God. Taking a look at those things that we take for granted, giving them up for a while, and telling you how it goes so you don't have to do it.
Google us, the Station Wagon Podcast, or at wagonpod.com. That's the commercial break, folks. But we're back now, and we're back at the Kingston house. Remember, the fabulous Kingston... Oh, wait, what'd you call it? McKingston Moneybags?
I think you called him Hot Daddy McMoney.
Okay, we're at Money Kingston. You were more clever than me. Okay, Kingston house. Anyway, Scooby's carrying a big chest on his back, and Shaggy's saying, "Hey, oh no, they're not the Kingston. They must be at the Weatherby Estates." Okay,
yeah,
Shaggy.
That would be the Weatherby Estates.
Yeah, announces, "Ghost, we brought you the fortune," because apparently,
Sure.
Like I said, hidden gold. It all fits in this big chest. So the ghost is like, "Oh, great, glad you got that, because I really don't want to have to keep chasing you guys, because I got a little bit of indigestion here." I mean, he just constantly looks like he just ate at a buffet. And, like, he really got his money's worth. The ghost opens
Those are
up.
good memories you're bringing back right now.
The ghost.
I don't know. It's about lunchtime, so I'm just like,
I'm hungry, too.
Buffet.
Yeah. I'm giving up sugar for my other stupid podcast.
Gross.
I'm so hungry.
Sugar's the best. It will hurt you, but it's the best. Like,
it makes everything taste better. Why am I doing this, Mark? Okay. Anyway, the ghost opens the chest, but it's a jack-in-the-box. I've been tricked! And then another chase scene. And it's like, the chase scenes in this episode are really, they just seem extra long. They trick the ghost into punching an anvil.
Oh, yes, they did. And at this point, I actually felt like, okay, this man has a broken hand, clearly. Because for the rest of the chase scene, the ghost is just like, ow, 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 ow. Like,
that's what I wrote,
like, help
too.
this poor man.
He's moaning about his hurt hand for, like, the rest of the chase scene. I will allow that this is a cartoon, so they're allowed to have random anvils around. Like, I think that's okay in cartoon world. Just like in cartoons, it's acceptable if you're falling that first you're stuck in air until you look at the camera and then you fall.
Right,
That's
and you hold up a
totally
sign that says like yelp or something or
Right.
gulp. But like I mean, it makes sense if you really think about it, but I do think in real life, at least for me, I have a 3 anvil limit per home.
Oh.
And so like here we actually only have 2 because we're poor and we can't afford our third anvil. But I definitely use the one in the spare bedroom. It's how I get those good arm workouts in.
Ooh.
And then there's one in the kitchen and I use it to chop meat on. Yeah, so
Now I can't tell if you're joking or not. Because that sounds like legit.
I mean, maybe I'm not.
Oh my gosh. Meddling kids, let's all take a road trip to Charlotte so we can see Steve's anvils. Okay. Because now I really want
sounded
one.
oddly
Menacing?
Yeah. I'm a little scared now.
Okay, sorry. We're not going to do that, everyone. Steven needs his privacy. And I'm sorry I called you Steve. What the heck was that?
Yeah, I am not a 47-year-old balding man.
Is that what you think Steves are?
Well, growing up, my friend's dad was named Steve, and he was like a mid-40s balding man. So anytime I hear Steve, I'm just like, that's what I picture. And so like when people call me Steve, I'm just like, please no. Like,
Okay.
I'm not there yet. Maybe in like another 15 years, I'll be like, all right, I can go Steve.
I can go Steve. I'm really sorry, Steven. Please forgive me.
It's okay. I'm just going to start calling you Jules.
See, I like that. Okay, my brothers call me Drooly, so if you really want to get on my... Well, actually, I kind of find it endearing now, so...
Oh, dang it. I was going to say you've revealed something to me that I will use against you for the remainder of this podcast.
If you really want to get me, you can call me Snarla. Okay.
Okay, gonna need some backstory for that, maybe off mic, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they punch an anvil. He punches an anvil. He's moaning about his hurt hand. They use the photo equipment to trick him into chasing a projection of Shaggy. And like Steven, with an N, mentioned that like, yeah, this ghost is Blue Boy is so dumb. He's tricked by his own stuff. He's not like, and also, of course, the kids are immediately experts at using all the equipment. He thinks this place is now really actually haunted. They also show a projection of Scooby, which is gigantic, and he thinks, oh, yeah, that's totally a thing that happens. I'm scared. And now Sharon is with them. Do you recall how Sharon got loose from her gag and tied up to a chair by her hands and feet?
I don't remember. Did she? I don't know.
They never explained it. She's just there, and she totally escaped, and now she's just kind of hanging out with them, and we have no clue. That's why I'm like, I want to know more about Sharon. Like, she's hardcore, super amazing. She says, he's going into the secret room where he had me tied up. So, like, she somehow got out, and she's just awesome. All right, where Sharon was, the Blue Boy now sees Uncle Stewart's hipster skeleton. And now Blue Boy is completely freaking out, and they drop a net on him and completely trap him. And that's the end of him for a while. But they tie him, or they don't even tie him to a chair. They just have him sit down, and he's like, don't worry, I'm not going to move because, I
have an issue with this.
Oh, you do? Tell us.
Okay, spoiler alert. Blue Boy is hipster Uncle Stewart.
Right.
Why would he look at the skeleton of hipster Uncle Stewart and be terrified like, oh, God, is that me?
Oh, yeah, good point.
He's really not the brightest villain that we've had on this series.
Maybe that's a skeleton that he had stolen from the mausoleum, and it's like actual someone else's remains. And so he's like, oh, their ghost is now hunting me. That could be a thing. Okay. He is a dumb, stupid guy, but he did have some cool special effects. Okay, so the dad is back, and he's looking very relaxed with his Daddy McHotPants is back and looking very relaxed with his unlit pipe.
Calm down, Julie.
The gang in front of the dad cleans off the jaundiced ghost. And Blue Boy's face is Uncle Stewart, because underneath that blue makeup are his hipster glasses and his not Van Dyke beard.
Which makes no sense. Why? His glasses were covered by the makeup? Like,
Yep.
what?
Yep, it's very impressive makeup. It was a professional makeup kit, Stephen.
Oh, my God. I forgot. Of course.
So,
I forgot that Weta, the guys that worked on Lord of the Rings, were helping Uncle Stewart scare small children.
that was some amazing trivia you pulled out there, by the way. That was awesome.
Yeah, Weta Workshop. They do some incredible work. You should look into it.
Okay, well, we'll look into that. Okay, we get a bunch of exposition to tie it all together because there's a few loose ends here. They explained he wanted the family's fortune. He had taken Sharon hostage because she saw his wig fall off and she knew something was fishy. So why is she surprised now that underneath Blue Boy is Uncle Stewart? I don't know. So Sharon says, but how does the Swami fit in? Excellent question, Sharon. Again, I'm telling you, this girl's got some brains in her. Velma says, what better way for a swindler to disappear? What?
I don't even know what that means. I still don't know how the Swami fits in.
Yeah. So, by the way, Swamis, I Googled it. It's a Hindu honorific, meaning it's like a term for someone who's very learned, who's like a master of something, who's either mastered learning or some sort of spiritual thing. They can be a spiritual leader or just like an important person. So, not a swindler. They don't read people's palms in Athens, Georgia. Well, I mean, maybe some do just for fun and to, Anyway, okay. Generally, they've renounced material possessions. So, in fact, like the exact opposite of Blue Boy. Okay, Dad announces it's time for dinner while they wait for the sheriff. Because, again, Athens, what the heck is going on with your sheriff department? They're still waiting. But Scooby got to the dinner first and ate it all up.
And during this entire scene, Shaggy, his hair is blonde.
What?
Who else's hair is blonde? Fred's hair is blonde, which just goes on to prove that Velma and Fred had some sort of weird relationship. They're clearly 20 years older than Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy is some sort of like overgrown child, and that he is their child. The defense rests.
I think you've proven your case really well.
I threw my notes very aggressively.
I'm
it
a
was
little
the last
scared.
note, though, so it's okay.
Okay, that was pretty amazing. I think that after that, we really have no more questions about this episode. You pretty much summed it all up in that closing argument that there's nothing left to be said.
Sure, I could be a lawyer.
Yeah, oh, totally. You pretty much
couldn't.
are already. I mean, that was, I think, as good as a Juris Doctorate. But we do have a question from another lawyer.
Ooh, is it Olaf?
It's Olaf. Olaf asked a meddling question. He wants to know why our episodes for this podcast are longer than the actual Scooby-Doo episodes we're reviewing.
All right, Olaf, why don't you step back a little bit and get out of my face? We enjoy talking about Scooby-Doo. If that is something that threatens you, I'm sorry. We could talk about Scooby-Doo all day. Sorry, Julie, for accosting your husband, Olaf.
No, he deserves every bit of that accostation. I don't know.
Accostation.
Yeah. Hey, Olaf, why don't you weigh in and give us some synonyms instead of bashing the podcast? It's long because there's a lot to talk about. These are complicated concepts and theories. And
we like the sounds of our own voices.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay, so he's just lucky that we're not also doing like a play-by-play of the entire chase scenes. I mean, that would make this podcast extremely, extremely long. Plus, we have to have time for ads for the Humane Society and other podcasts and things like that. So, don't blame us.
I just have to find some ads and then we'll be good.
Yeah. Okay, by the way, thanks, Humane Society, for sending us that ad. It's really cool to get to help you all out with your important mission, and we're glad to have you here. Okay, so thank you, Olaf, for your comment question. Listeners, if you send in meddling questions, we'll be nicer to you than to Olaf. I have his unconditional love, so I can kind of mock him a little bit. It's okay.
Yes.
You can email us at meddlingkidspod@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at meddlingkidspod, or join us on Facebook.
Absolutely. And we want to say thanks so much to I can't say words. To Dave Says Tay. That's his name. He made the music. Yeah, dance. For the I don't know what that was.
Dance. I love it.
But thanks to him for the use of the song Night Surfing as our theme music.
Dance. Sorry. Okay, yeah. And check out our other shows. Steven is on Is This Adulting? It's fantastic. And I'm on the Station Wagon podcast. And we'll be back next time with episode 7, Never Ape an Ape Man.
Which I'm already going to say is the worst title for a television show ever.
Well, okay, iTunes got it wrong, and their description was Never Ape and Ape Man, and I was super confused. That's worse, but Never Ape and Ape Man is pretty bad. But in the meantime, please rate us and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for doing that.
Absolutely. Well, I think on this kind of super long episode, but why not?
Why not, Olaf?
Of Meddling Kids, that's gonna do it for us. Yeah, that was my big middle finger to Olaf. Is we went a little longer than even usual. So how you like that, Olaf? Next week, 3 hours on Never Ape an Ape Man. So get ready. It's just it's gonna be that and a serious breakdown of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the new ones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's do that. No, we will not do that.
Okay.
But that is going to do it for this one and this episode of the Meddling Kids podcast. And as always, listeners, I don't watch you as much as I probably should. I have no clue what's going on in your life, so I really don't know what you did this week, but you would have gotten away with it if it weren't for us Meddling Kids.
Hope your day is furry and frightening.
That one was kind of cute.
Get good dogs, you know. Just in case you didn't get it.
You know, dogs.
Dogs.